WCBI News at 6 starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. 3 people are accused of helping a Webster County inmate to escape. Elton Neal Gordon and Jonathan Cisco are both charged with aiding an escape. Destiny Cooper is charged with concealing or harboring a prisoner. Bond was denied for Gordon and Cisco. Cooper's was set at $20,000. Investigators believe Cooper and Anthony Logan were in a relationship. As we first reported last night, Logan was arrested in Choctaw County. He had been on the run for 3 days. Logan will be taken to a state prison within the next few days for a burglary conviction. A stolen car and a high-speed chase spans the Golden Triangle and ends at a West Point truck stop. This pursuit started on Highway 82 in Lowndes County. A deputy followed the red Hyundai onto Highways 45 alternate and 182, then into Oktibbeha County. That chase then went back to Lowndes County and up Highway 45 alternate. Officers eventually tracked down the vehicle at Love's truck stop in West Point. Investigators say the driver and passenger, along with the juvenile, are in custody. The car was reported stolen in South Carolina, and the driver has at least 1 warrant for his arrest. The incident remains under investigation. More information could be released on this case tomorrow. 2 weapons and a wanted felon are now off the streets in Columbus. This past Tuesday, Columbus police arrested Kenny Armstead. An AR-15 and a Glock handgun with an extended clip were recovered during the arrest. The 23-year-old is facing possession of a weapon by a felon charges. The Columbus man was also charged with several outstanding failure to appear warrants. Police Chief Fred Shelton says Armstead is wanted for questioning in a number of open cases. Shelton says additional charges could still be filed. Armstead is in the Lowndes County Jail. Well, stress is an occupational hazard for law enforcement. Homicides, deadly crashes, shootings. Officers are trained to handle every call, but dealing with the aftermath of the horrific scene, there's not a class at the academy for that. Our Jory Talley talks with 2 deputies who have seen and gone through a lot. She joins us in the studio with that story.
That's right. Officers are the ones the public turns to when there's an emergency or when chaos is unfolding. Regardless of how emotional or traumatic a scene is, they have to park their emotions and react in a professional manner. But once the badge is off, the emotions are released.
No matter how long you've been in this profession, there will still be things, there will still be scenes, there will still be calls that will actually stick with you. Some for life, some takes a good while to get over.
Crime scenes of all kinds, homicides, shootings, assaults, chases. Law enforcement officers are the first on scene. Although they're highly trained, there are some things no amount of training can prepare you for.
Went and responded to a wreck with my training officer that would end up being a fatality with a baby in the car, and that was one of the first times where I sat there and said, I didn't know this was going to be like this, and how much more is coming, because this is like day 2 or day 3.
Captain Archie Williams has been in law enforcement for 2 decades. He's seen the worst of the worst and also has gone through one of officers' worst fears. Back in 2006, he and another officer responded to a domestic call. It was a call he'll never forget.
I took several blows to the back. My head was split open for a good bit, and I was actually knocked unconscious. So I don't know how long I was unconscious. It was a matter of seconds, I believe, when I did come to. The other officer there was lifeless on the ground, being beat in the head.
Williams says after situations like these, sometimes the best way to cope is by talking it through with other officers who have had similar experiences. Master Sergeant Kevin Forrester is one of those officers. Not long ago, Forrester was assisting with a 4-county chase that ended with him being shot.
That was one of the toughest things for me to be able to get over. I cannot tell you that I'm totally over it. There are a range of emotions that you go through.
The same thing can be said about the homicides Forrester has seen and worked over his nearly 25 years on the job.
Some of the ones hadn't gone away. And not to be particular about any certain one, but one where I was only an officer for 2 years, I still see it very vividly.
Both deputies say everything they've gone through has made them even more cautious on and off the job.
All right, Jory in our studio with that story. It is time now to get a first look at our forecast. We'll turn it over to Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson for that. Hey, Keith.
Drew, right now in Tupelo, 41 degrees. We have fairly light wind out there, but the wind will pick up a little bit later on tonight. Wind chill values will be a factor later on tonight as well. Upper 30s and low 40s across the board here as we get into the early evening. Most of us will be in the 30s over the next couple of hours. Notice how we'll go from the upper 30s to the low 30s by 11 o'clock. Tomorrow morning, 27 degrees. Wind chills, 20s and teens. So a chilly start to our Friday. Plan accordingly for the morning commute tomorrow to work and for school, but at least it will be fairly sunny tomorrow. Pretty decent through the weekend into Monday, but an Arctic blast is coming on Tuesday. We'll talk more about that in just a few minutes.
All right, Keith, thanks a lot. It is an achievement very few Mississippi Sheriff's Departments can claim, but a second Golden Triangle department will soon receive its accreditation. Our Riley Livingston takes a look at just what this distinction means for the departments and the people they serve. She joins us in the studio with that story.
Andrea, to become accredited, you have to meet a professional standard. There are many rules and regulations, and for many departments, it is a means of a culture shift. But as Clay County Sheriff Eddie Scott tells me, the hard work has paid off.
The Clay County Sheriff's Department has a reason to celebrate. They are now one of only 5 accredited sheriff's departments in the state. The road to receiving this honor has been a long one, but for Sheriff Eddie Scott, it's been worth it.
So it's been an extraordinary journey getting to this point. We've been working on it for over 2 years. It's a major milestone for our departments. We're always trying to bring our departments to a higher level, and that's what we work at, not only our departments, but as sheriffs ourselves. We want to be able to provide the best for our communities.
While this distinction is something to be proud of, it's only the beginning. Clay County must maintain all 140 professional standards to keep the accreditation.
This is going to be an everyday deal. This is just not a one-time shot. We're going to have to work every day maintaining this accreditation and look for ways to improve. Just because we're accredited don't mean there's not other things that we can do to improve. So we're going to continue doing that and working with our other agencies and protecting our community.
Back in 2012, the Oktibbeha County Sheriff's Department became the 4th in the state to be accredited. 7 years later, they are still reaping the benefits.
When we present things to the grand jury or we go to trial, we've got policies and procedures on everything that we do. When we lay out our case files and all that, it's in there just exactly like we say that we do it, and we can prove that we do it that way. And I think now that the deputies, they take pride in it too, so I'd like to see everybody stay accredited. I think it just make everybody better.
On February 20th, everything will become official after going in front of the Sheriff's Board. Sheriff Scott says it's nice to see his deputies' hard work pay off.
I'm very excited and very happy at the point we're in, and I think it makes it better for our community and for law enforcement overall when these officers are trained like this.
The Lowndes County Sheriff's Department is also working to become accredited. Once they are approved, the entire Golden Triangle will be held to this standard.
A Mississippi senator is in the hospital after suffering a stroke. State Senator Terry Burton had a stroke and is currently recovering. Lieutenant Governor Tate Reeves made that announcement earlier today. Burton recently stepped down from his position as Senate President pro tem following a DUI arrest in Oktibbeha County. Burton represents District 31. A Tupelo judge will soon lead the Mississippi Court of Appeals. Judge Donna Barnes will become chief judge on February the 1st. The investiture ceremony will be held in Jackson. She was appointed to the Court of Appeals by former Governor Haley Barbour. Barnes will be the first woman to lead the state Court of Appeals. The Chief Justice of the Supreme Court selects the Court of Appeals chief judge. Michael Randolph will appoint Barnes to the post on his first Friday as Chief Justice. Head Start programs in Mississippi will get funded for another year. U.S. Senators Roger Wicker and Cindy Hyde-Smith announcing $37.6 million in federal grant funding. Of that, more than $30 million will fund new early Head Start programs in 7 counties, including Lowndes and Wcbi. Head Start programs benefit low-income families, providing a variety of services to improve the physical, social, and cognitive development of children. All 82 counties in Mississippi are served by Head Start programs. The job market is looking healthy for one group of graduates. We take a look at the prognosis for their careers when we come back.
News at 6 with Andrea Self.
The new director for the Amory Regional Museum is able to take his love of history to his new job. Wayne Knox is the new director of the Amory Regional Museum. He worked previously as a volunteer there, and he also served on the board. The Amory native was hired as the director in November and says he sees his position as preserving the city's past, also creating dynamic educational tools for all age groups.
We're stewards of the past. People bring us these artifacts, these things, these relics of their personal history, of the town's history. And so it's our job to take care of those, to curate those, make sure they're stored properly. But another job of the director is to work on temporary exhibits, making sure we have a flow of new things in our temporary gallery spaces.
Knox took over after longtime director Bo Miller stepped down to pursue other career goals. MUW nursing students see some of their after graduation opportunities. More than 20 different medical facilities from across the Mid-South came out to the university's nursing job fair today. Organizers say this event allows students to learn more about the field. It also opens doors for potential jobs once these students graduate.
To get our students connected with those employers and those nursing facilities that are offering job positions, to put them all in one place so that they're able to find out what's out there, what the options are with the degrees that they've chosen.
Connections are so important, and I think you got to get your name out there and got to see all the different opportunities that are available. You can't just hope something falls in your lap. So just having one space to be able to talk to so many different people is incredible.
Dozens of nursing students participated in today's event.
Our weekend's looking pretty good, around 50 on Saturday, variably cloudy, and for Sunday 57, maybe a stray shower here, but overall we're okay. It's next week that promises some colder air. More of that after the break.
Your WCBI First Alert AccuWeather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
Oh, wasn't it nice to see all that blue sky today? Gorgeous temperature, or gorgeous conditions. Temperatures, yeah, they were a bit on the cool side, but not too bad for us. And then we've had some higher clouds stream on in as we've gone throughout the last couple of hours. That's out ahead of a front that will be moving through tonight. It's going to move through dry, so we'll see a few clouds tonight. Temperatures will be in the 20s tomorrow morning, as we mentioned earlier. Wind chills 20s and teens, so a chilly start. 30s and 40s for our Friday. We're thinking upper 30s north, low to mid 40s south, so that's the way it's going to be. Winds from the north at about 5 to 15, keep that chill factor all day long. Saturday, Sunday, as we mentioned, going to break likely in the 50s. Monday, we peak at 61. Just disregard that. No, we have to face the facts. 30s on Tuesday, we are going to fall off a cliff. Let's talk about the Arctic front. It moves through Monday night, and there could be a little band of rains that could switch over to some snow here on Tuesday morning. So some winter weather is still possible with that surge of Arctic air as we get into Monday night. So stay tuned for updates on that. That's our next big system coming our way. Right now we've got temperatures in the 40s and 30s locally. Wind chills will continue to drop. So our lows tonight actually down into the mid to upper 20s, 27 degrees. Colder wind chill values, obviously. So we've had colder nights, but it will be a chilly start to our Friday. There's the front, though, and as we mentioned, the higher clouds streaming on in, those clouds that will give rise to maybe a flurry somewhere in the region, but overall, this system is moisture-starved, and when you wake up tomorrow, we should be, like we were today, mostly sunny all day long with another area of high pressure coming on in for our Friday. Travel across the region tomorrow, 37 in Memphis, 31 in Nashville. But if you're going south closer to the Gulf Coast, we're looking at temperatures in the mid-50s. Now, if you're traveling north, be forewarned, it is going to be bitterly cold here across the Great Lakes, the upper Midwest. Temperatures well below zero all day long. But that's some of that cold air that will be coming down here next week. For the weekend, notice the clouds here on Saturday mixed with some sunshine. Same story for your Sunday, so variably cloudy here. Not a lot of moisture that's actually going to come out of those clouds to the ground. Can't rule it out, though. As we get into Monday, we start to warm things up. I still think a pretty good chance of getting into low 60s, but before that system right there organizes and heads south, the Arctic blast. Something we don't show on the map too often, but this is winter, and we will get a little taste of some colder air next week. Here's your AccuWeather AccuWeather 7-day forecast. 40 or so tomorrow, again 30s and 40s. Decent weather for the weekend, 61 Monday. And then we jump off the cliff, 31 on Tuesday. Tuesday morning especially could be a bit dicey around here with some wind, perhaps some snowflakes. And then we just say chilly Wednesday and Thursday, Andrea.
Ole Miss women's hoops continuing surprise SEC foes, exceeding expectations in conference play. More from Coach Yo next in sports.
WCBI Sports with Tom Ebel is brought to you by your local Ford dealers. Go further.
Picked in the preseason at the bottom of the SEC, Ole Miss women's basketball is in rebuilding. There's no question about that. But Coach Yo has the Rebels on the fast track, showing the upset win over Kentucky wasn't a fluke, and the Rebels are already surpassing its SEC win total from a year ago. The Rebels in the middle of the pack in the conference, riding a 2-game win streak into Nashville tonight to face Vanderbilt. Head coach Yolette McPhee-McEwen says her Rebels squad continues to learn from the ups and downs from the season. Coach Yo saying it's an important part of rebuilding the culture.
We're going to have to learn through losses, and we've done that. And I'm not saying that there are not more losses to learn from, right, through the season, but we have had our fair share. And so learning from it, and the kids just having grit and sticking with it, and the staff, the coaches. I mean, there was never a time you wouldn't know that we were in the situation we were when you came to practice or when you came into the offices. Everybody continued to work and continued to be positive.
Ole Miss tips off against Vanderbilt at 7 p.m. That's streaming online at the SEC Network Plus. Mississippi State taking on Florida right now at last check. It's 27-9 Bulldogs. Andriel Howard going on a 9-0 run all by herself. That game is also streaming online on SEC Network Plus. Highlights and recap tonight at 10 on WCBI Sports. We're 3 weeks away until the first pitch of the college baseball season. The Rebels and the Bulldogs will prepare for opening day with inter-squad scrimmages this weekend, earning more national respect heading into the season. The preseason baseball poll from the USA Today released LSU at number 1, 3 SEC teams in the first 3 spots, Vanderbilt and Florida at 2 and 3 respectively, but Ole Miss at number 10 according to the USA Today, Mississippi State at number 15, and also Southern Miss right outside the top 25. For being technical, they're 27th in the latest poll. The national preseason poll for the JUCO baseball season released. 3 Mississippi JUCOs ranked in the national top 20. Meridian at number 4, Pearl River at number 8, and Mississippi Gulf Coast at number 14. Jumping over to the softball side, Jones County ranked number 1 in the nation in JUCO softball. ICC coming in at number 10. They're following that program best season in 2018, winning the MACJC and finishing number 3 in the overall poll at the end of the season. The number 10 ranking is ICC's first preseason ranking since the 2017 season. Coming up tonight on WCBI Sports, along with Ole Miss and Mississippi State hoops, some JUCO basketball. Mississippi State traveling to Northeast. Northeast men on fire right now, riding a 3-game win streak. They're 13-2, 3-1 overall in the division. And then battle of the locals, EMCC taking on ICC up in Fulton. EMCC, they're riding a 2-game win streak. They're 9-6 overall in the year, 3-1 in division. ICC men's squad looking to get back. Also, all these teams, women's teams as well, will be playing tonight. A lot of great action going on. Make sure you tune in at 10 for highlights and recap as well. That's it for sports. Last look at your weather is next.
Some nice weather tomorrow. The weekend's looking okay. Monday, look at that, 61. You would think, man, we're on an easy streak.
But then look at Tuesday.
I know, we're going to go crashing through the ceiling there, or through the floor. 30s, some winter weather still possible, maybe some snow, some wind. So we still have a couple of days to watch this, but definitely something to put on your radar.
Yeah, we'll be watching for it for sure. All right, that is the news at 6 o'clock, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your evening. We'll see you back here tonight at 9 and 10.